Hello my friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. I hope you guys are doing well today. So we're going to start over here in Colombia, and we have an earthquake swarm detected under Galeras Volcano in Colombia. And so that's probably coming awake, as so many volcanoes are. And volcanoes are one of the words for the day. Colombian authorities are reporting significant increased seismic activity underneath Galeras Volcano, one of Colombia's most frequently active volcanoes. The thing that we have now, though, is we have like all of them basically showing activity, all of the ones that are usually active, and then there are many that are coming awake as we are watching now. So this one last erupted in 2014, and it's stirring. And so these earthquakes are located between 1 and 8 kilometers to the northeast of the volcano at depths between 1.2 and 7.5 kilometers from the top of the volcano, as the Colombian Geological Service reported in a special bulletin posted today. A total of 310 earthquakes have been reported between 9:35 UTC on the 12th, when a magnitude 4.5 volcano tectonic earthquake was recorded, and 4:35 UTC today. Other geophysical and geochemical monitoring parameters had no significant change. Of course, this is all ring of fire activity, and it's to be expected. And it is just another one that's adding to what's in the atmosphere already. And as we're going to see and talk about today, this is all having a big impact on our oceans as well, and on the quality of the air and oxygen levels, and just the particulates in the air, the flooding that we have seen. And as we get ready for more activity, which is going to be coming. So rapidly intensifying, possibly planet-wide dust storm affecting Mars. And this is a massive storm that's growing rapidly and is likely to go, or already has gone, global. And on June 10th, the storm covered more than 41 million kilometers, according to JPL. And this is an area about the size of North America and Russia combined, or more than a quarter of the surface of Mars. However, due to its rapid intensification, some astronomers say the dust storm is likely to go totally global. And it's blocked out so much sunlight it has effectively turned day into night for NASA. Opportunity rover, who is located near the center of the storm inside Mars' Perseverance Valley. As a result, Opportunity's power levels have dropped significantly by June 6, requiring it to shift to minimal operations and temporarily cease scientific operations. So NASA engineers have attempted to contact the Opportunity on the 12th, but did not hear back from the nearly 15-year-old rover. The team is now operating under the assumption that the charge in the batteries has dipped below 24 volts and the rover has entered low power fault mode, a condition where all subsystems except the mission clock are turned off. The rover's mission clock is programmed to wake the computer so it can check on power levels. And if it doesn't change, it'll put itself back to sleep. And this is not just the Earth, and this is probably not even just our solar system. It's even bigger, all the changes that we have going on. And from some sources, this is supposed to be a galactic type event. And it's very interesting, everything that is happening, this whole shift in consciousness. And so let's jump over and see what's going on in Hawaii. And we can see again another 5.3 volcanic eruption. And yeah, I got to question that. They keep bringing up the same number every single time. It's 5.3 every time, 5.3 now. It's kind of like it's a default that they have set. And so when we go out, I can see this was building up this morning when I was checking earlier. 475 earthquakes out of 685 that they are showing on the planet are in Hawaii. And as we can see, we get another daily eruption. So it's just a real steady cycle now at this point. Very, very clockwork almost. And so when we see that, we know the event's definitely not anywhere close to being over. And now there's over 700 homes destroyed, so it keeps increasing in scope and size as we go along. And as we come on out and take a peek at what's happening, we can see some of the larger ones that we're looking at are a 5.4 in Vanuatu, a 5.1 in Vanuatu, 5.4 in Indonesia. There's another one underneath that as well, very close to the same area. 5.8, that's the one that popped out late last night, I believe. Over in the Philippines, we have a 4.9. In Japan, or actually Taiwan, yeah, Taiwan, 4.5, and 4.7 over in Japan. In Russia, 5.1. We see several of them over here. In Alaska, swarming is going on. Still looks like there's swarming going on up over in Yellowstone. See a lot of the diamonds, which they usually say are quarry blasts and explosions. Sometimes I wonder if that's really accurate and they're trying to cover up things that are happening possible with magma flow, because you know how NASA is. A lot of explosions going on, as we could see, quote unquote. And so this is really interesting. And yeah, we have one over here in the New Madrid area, 1.2, 7 kilometers deep. And then over here, now this is very unusual. This is farther over, not really too far away from Charlotte. Charlotte being down in this area, 1.7, 0.2 kilometers deep. So is that a quote-unquote quarry blast? And then a 1.8, 0.3 kilometers deep. These are southwest of Newton, North Carolina, and curious, definitely curious. So let's see if we could just pull up Google Earth and see what's there. You remember, obviously, we had that line of earthquakes going straight across between the basically around the 36-degree line. That was very interesting. And this is not too far off of that. So, gotta wonder what's up with this. It's on a golf course. Looks like a golf course, or what is that? First it looked like a golf course here. Farmlands, but is that just a tower of sorts? It looks like maybe a cell tower. Interesting. You know, I woke up thinking about 5G today. I don't know why. I mean, for one of the reasons why I think is because I woke up with a headache. And then I started looking at some of the comments that you guys had posted, and quite a few of you guys have had headaches. And I'm just wondering if it has anything to do with the 5G rollout, because, or is it just a cosmic ray inundation, or is there something going on with the Schumann resonance, which we're going to take a peek at. Interesting. So this is that one. And it takes us right next to a cell tower. And this one is so close to that location. And so I've also was bombarded by some of my very in tune friends who are very intuitive, feeling something very disconcerting today. Feeling just really almost kind of like a panicked type of energy and pressure. And one of my friends is up around Michigan, and she just felt the total need to just start heading south and west. and to just start moving and get out of the area that she was in. And she told me she totally believes that Michigan's very safe, but she just has felt a need to just get on the road and start heading south and west. And then another friend that's up in New England felt the same thing, like a huge urge to get away from the Northeast and to head south and to head west. And I thought, okay, well, that's super coincidental, because these are two of the more psychic people I know, and they're both getting this feeling to kind of get out of the northeastern quadrant. And so I'm not sure what we're looking at here. But this is not far from the other location, and so I'm definitely finding these very curious. And if we look at the rest of the earthquakes, we have a 4.4 in Albania, and over in Iran we have a 4.2 as well. And so I'd be curious to see if any of you guys, especially you guys up in the northeast part of the US, are feeling anything unusual. Because there's definitely something going on energetically. Volcano eruption warning. Intense volcanic CO2 activity drives global extinction. And this is out of the Express UK. And volcano eruptions could be responsible for an accelerated and disastrous rate of wildlife extinction. Scientists have warned in the aftermath of Hawaii and Guatemala volcano eruptions. Rising levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere could be linked to strong volcanic activity, according to scientists at Florida State University. They've looked at how volcanic eruptions are linked to higher CO2 emissions, depleting oxygen levels in the ocean and invariably causing mass extinction. And so I just want to share with you guys on that. And I went for a walk at the beach, and I was struck with how many fish were just laying there dead yesterday. And I was wondering, gosh, is this red tide going or something, or what's going on? But there was a lot of dead fish in the water yesterday, and it was kind of disconcerting, you know, how many, because I haven't noticed that before, and then boom, yesterday there was a bunch of them. So I'm not sure what was up with that, and hopefully it's just something small and isolated, but interesting. So Kilauea's estimated output is roughly equivalent to just over a day's worth of operations at a large coal-burning power plant, and not enough to cause any major climate impact. And that's at least what they are saying. But you know, the eruption of Fuego was something that was much stronger. And if we take a peek today, we see that we have Yasur volcano in Vanuatu erupting today as well. And as we had seen yesterday, there's quite a few active volcanoes going on. The flooding in France is causing major destruction and deaths, and actually we have 4 people now dead in France over the last 2 weeks, all basically flooding related. Body of a 37-year-old man was found in his car in northern France in early June. He is believed to have drowned when his car became encased in floodwater. Earlier this month, a woman in her 90s died in the town of Montmorillon, where her home flooded. In the same time frame, the body of another elderly lady was found in a river at the Lot-et-Garonne region in southern France. And you know, it's been something that's been going on. We saw this, I believe yesterday we were looking at this photo too, where the train actually came off the tracks, and you can see how disruptive it's being and deadly. And we've seen this on all the continents, really, all besides Antarctica, which is frozen, so that's why we don't see it down there. But it's definitely going on. It's something that's increasing, and it's basically our new norm. So we no longer have a nuclear threat from North Korea, President Trump says. He's declaring peace and safety on the North Korean peninsula, the Korean peninsula. And so we shall see how that goes. And if we take a quick peek over at HeartMath, which is a great source of reference for what's going on with the Schumann resonance. And we could see the activity going on. And each one of these is a different station. The third one down is actually Lithuania. And so there's tons of activity in Lithuania. The yellow is higher activity going on. At the top you have California, and then Saudi Arabia, Lithuania, and then Alberta, Canada, and New Zealand are both offline for some reason. And I don't know why, you have to wonder. And then South Africa. So a lot of people are feeling things today. And talking about feelings, gut instinct may have been the GPS of human ancestors. And researchers are saying the findings point to a need to further examine whether bariatric treatments and surgeries for obesity may adversely affect memory. So isn't that something that almost superficially boggles the mind? The thought that you could have a tummy tuck and it's going to affect your memory. A tummy tuck. Don't take any surgery lightly. You know, anytime you cut into the body, you're affecting the whole. And we've discussed the fractal nature of the universe, and we've discussed the microbiome so much, and how antibiotics, yes, they were a savior in so many ways, but they've created other issues. And realize that you are a conglomeration of trillions of beings. You are a galaxy. You are a universe. And so when you go removing chunks of it, the stomach can affect the brain. And as we know, there's so many nerve endings down there. There's more in the gut than there is in the brain. And it is truly our second brain. And maybe in some ways it's really our first brain. And so they're finding that operating in the stomach can affect your memory and other things, including perhaps your intuition. And there's reasons for this, and this gets into the vagus nerve, which is the autobahn between what scientists refer to as the two brains, the one in your head and the other in your gastrointestinal tract. And this is it's very interesting stuff. As always, we'll always have all the links for you guys so you could go and delve deeper into this. But another reason to just don't get that tummy tuck for vanity's sake, if you're thinking about something like that, and realize every time you chop into the body, you're really disrupting the body systemically in a major way. And so, this is part of what's been done with Western medicine, where they don't really understand the bigger picture. They think they do, but in Western medicine we have a tendency to analyze the little ends. We compartmentalize things to the highest degree, and they dissect things and understand how things work on the microscopic level, but they don't seem to get the grasp of the whole system and the unity of the whole system. And we could see how that relates to consciousness as well, as so many that are in this Western mindset don't grasp the idea of a unity consciousness. Doesn't mean that we don't have our individuality, as Asia was pointing out last night when we were doing our live radio show on Freedom Slips Radio. Unity consciousness doesn't mean that you're just becoming part of the Borg and you're not going to have your individuality. It's maintaining the individuality, but it's recognizing and basically becoming connected to the higher overall oneness of everything. So it's a positive thing, and it's an understanding the oneness and the unity. So this reflects in the microcosm as well as the macrocosm. Our macrocosm, the greater world that we live in on the large scale, but also on our individual selves as well, and in our bodies, and recognize that when you take a antiviral medicine, or any sort of antibiotics and stuff, it affects your whole system, and some of the good things get affected as well. And so with these surgeries, like one of the things I have noticed that I've had clients that have had hip problems, and when we go deep into it, we find out that the fascia, the connective tissue in the body, might be pinched up in the armpit from, say, a biopsy to check out a what might appear to be a malignant lymph node or something along those lines, and a large lymph node that they had removed, and by cutting in and pulling that lymph node out, it's bunched up the fascia up under the arm, and then giving you issues in your hip because everything is interconnected. And like the connective tissue runs throughout the entire body. It's one big web, all interconnected, and it rolls around every single muscle fiber, every muscle bundle. It goes and it wraps all of our organs. There's 3 layers of it that cover your spinal cord and your brain. So it's all interconnected, and we are all interconnected, and that's part of the bigger picture. And we were talking last night as well, during the show about that interconnectedness, and the Netflix show Sense8 came up, and it really is a very good show on many levels because it kind of shows what's going on in our consciousness as we are starting to become more and more in tune and in sync with the higher realms and with each other. And so you might be finding that the people that you are really connected to, you don't even have to talk to them. You could even think about them. Next thing you know, you're getting a text from them because they've heard you. You've reached out to them, they felt your energy, and they text you because you thought about them. That's going to just keep increasing. And as we were talking about these CIA studies that show that increases in cosmic radiation increases our intuitive abilities and our abilities to psychically communicate. Those are not woo-woo things. Those are facts, and that's reality. And so all these things, like when I was growing up in the 70s and 80s, that were thought of as being very, very radical, they're not radical anymore. It's just science that was suppressed. And it's all coming out in the wash now so that we could see these things and know these things. And it's all part of the bigger picture. So again, we will use our intent. Now, we've had some live feeds that we've done, and I wanted to get everybody together and to talk to each other and have an open chat room type thing too, so we could grow closer together. We will start doing some that are intent orientated, where we're going to have a specific focus. So it might be peace, it might be stopping a war somewhere, it could be mitigating the results of a volcanic eruption, or anything like that, and personal healings and all. So I'm thinking about like doing leaving a live feed kind of running at times, kind of like what Dutch does and some others do, where you guys could talk and communicate, and we could have a topic for the day, and it could be just, say, sending energy to love and light to people in Guatemala suffering, or wherever it is that there is some sort of distress going on in the world. And we'll have an intent and a focus. And also where you could leave your own prayer requests and healing requests as well. And just to share with you guys as well, I had really unusual things happening with my live stream getting turned on by itself 3 times yesterday, actually 4 times. And I wasn't even in the room a couple of those times. And so it's very interesting. We know people can hack in. People can access your computers. We know if you have Facebook Messenger, they know every move you made all day long. It is what it is. Every move is tracked. Every move can be tracked. If you're a person of interest, they will watch your every move. And when you have a YouTube channel like this and a live radio show, you're going to be a person of interest if you're talking about these things. So I kind of expect that. Although it was very, very freaky that it happened 4 times yesterday without me clicking on it. So it was just unusual. And thank you guys so much for reaching out to me, those of you that did, to say, hey, you're on live. Do you realize that? So thank you guys again for doing that. And that's part of being a family, and that's what we are. We are a family that's growing, and we're looking out for each other, and we're going to grow together and become a more cohesive, stronger unit together, a more focused unit as we go. And I value your guys' opinions. Please do share share your vision for the direction of evolutionary energy arts with me. And I had a couple of people say, my God, do you answer everybody? I try to answer everybody. I really, really do. And then some people, will communicate more than others. And I'm trying to make sure I answer everybody I possibly can. Although some days, it literally is daunting to try to cover everything, but I value each and every one of you guys and your opinions and your thoughts and what you're feeling. So please do continue to share as we grow stronger as a unit, stronger as a family. It's a beautiful thing, my friends. So as always, please do thumbs up to help support the channel. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and click the little bell for updates. I know stats show that still about 2/3 of you that are visiting on a regular basis haven't actually gone and clicked and subscribed and joined the family, even though you're watching every day. So go ahead and do that. And as always, share with as many people. Let's wake them up. Let's become a more unified family, a stronger force for positive change. One of the things I want to share with you guys too is that as we're doing this, I'm getting from my higher self and from my guides and angels the fact that I'm just feeling much more secure and powerful in so many ways, and feeling that we really can change these things. We really, really can change these things. Don't feel like you have to go running. Don't feel like you have to panic in any situation, because there's help from the higher realms all around us. And really, I'm feeling very much like, root yourself, anchor yourself, and don't accept a negative outcome. Just don't accept it. We're not going to accept it. We're going to use our unified power of our individual minds, unified with strong intent and pure focus, to mitigate these things. So we can see that there are some positives. For instance, we haven't had any huge destructive earthquakes, really lately. That's a positive. Part of it could be the pressures getting relieved by volcanoes. But there's more to it than that. And so many have said, I expected these things to happen 10, 15 years ago. Well, it could be that our positive intent and the growing of consciousness as people wake up to ascension is causing that delay. And perhaps we could cause that delay out over a longer period of time to where we have plenty of time to get ready for these things. And maybe we'll get forewarning. So we know, okay, it's time to leave this area right now when we have time, and we could do that and get people out of an area. We need to get in contact with our higher selves and the higher powers and each other. There's a collective consciousness that binds us all together. And we've been taught to fear that. Many people are still operating out of that fear-based mentality, thinking, anything like that, any sort of intuition, any sort of psychic powers must come from the devil. It must be evil. Well, you've been conditioned to believe that, so you won't use that. So you'll rely on those people that are in power and basically just be nothing but a slave to them, and not have your own free will and not develop your own abilities. You're totally falling into their mindset that they have created for you in order to keep them in power and to keep everybody else in the dark, because they've known how the world works. They know how the universe works, and they use it to their advantage. They don't want everybody else to know how it works, because then they will lose their advantage. And so they've created these fear-based ideologies to keep people in the dark. And so we must realize that and utilize our own abilities to counteract them, because they are trying to bring on and control through this dark agenda. And they will do things such as the weather warfare that we've seen, a lot of the man-made natural disasters, quote unquote, HARP, CERN. They use all different methods as well as rituals and things along those lines as well. So we must not fall into what they want us to do. We need to take hold of the reins, develop our own abilities, our own intuition, our own power, realize our own power, and manifest what we want to manifest, which is a world that has brotherhood, sisterhood at the forefront, a unified world of peace, love, well-being, eliminating the militaries, because this is just a profit maker for them, and it's a population reduction program for them. And they just simply try to put fear into one group of people and then promote fear in the other group, and then just manipulate things with false flags to create these wars that never end. It's just all part of their programming. So if we allow ourselves to think in terms of, well, I am this or I am that, instead of, basically saying, I'm human and these are my brothers and sisters and I love them and that's what I'm going to do is what's ever beneficial for everybody, the whole, then we're falling into their plans and their schemes, because they want to keep us separated. They want to keep us Democrats here, Republicans here, conservative Christians there, liberals there. And that's how they keep us separated. That's how they keep us from realizing our power and potential. It's time to eliminate labels. It's time to realize there's one unity, one humanity, one world. We're all part of a greater purpose. We're all part of a greater living being, a living entity, and we are all equal in that entity's eyes. There are none better, there are none worse. All are equal, all are beautiful. So I want to leave you guys with that. And I want to share that. I love you guys. Take care. May you be blessed with abundance, peace, well-being, harmony, safety for you and your loved ones and all. God bless, my friends, and namaste.